Why can't I get my NI on here?
I'd like to call to order the Peabody Planning Board meeting agenda for Thursday, May 1st, 2025, held at 7 p.m. Peabody City Hall, Wigan Auditorium, 24 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass. At this time, we have a suspension of the public hearing to enter into a public hearing. The proponent of this public hearing is not present. So at this time, I will return back to the...
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I think there should be a motion to continue the public hearing to the next meeting.
Continue the public hearing to the next meeting.
Well, before I do that, is the proponent coming?
I reached out to the I reached out to the proponent today and left him a message about tonight's meeting, and we had previously spoken about this. So,
All right, I'm going to make a compromise. I'm going to move to recess the public hearing. Perhaps we'll deal with this a little later in the evening. So move to recess the hearing.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Unanimous. We return to the...
We don't have members. We don't have a meeting right now.
We have 5.
Oh, great.
Next item on the agenda of the regular meeting is 0 Hardy Street, map 85, lot 001.
Mr. Chairman, we received earlier today letters of request for continuation from Attorney Kelty, and this is actually for both items, for 0 Hardy Street and then 60 Pulaski as well.
All right, first order of business, in the matter of 0 Hardy Street, I'm going to move to receive a communication from John R. Kelty, Esquire, dated May 1st, 2025, and he is requesting an extension of time until May 15th, 2025. Move to receive and grant the extension.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
In the matter of 60 Pulaski Street, I have another correspondence from Attorney Kelty dated May 1st, 2025, in which he requests an extension of time until May 15th, 2025. Move to receive and grant said extension.
Second.
All those in favor? Again, unanimous. Next item on the agenda is a letter from Paul DiBiase, manager of Peabody Living LLC, dated November 26, 2024, Stonegate subdivision. This was continued from the 4/17 meeting to tonight.
Mr. Chairman, just before the representative from Peabody Living LLC comes up to the board, I just wanted to let the board know we received quite a flurry of activity today in regards to this. Starting this morning, we received an email from Peabody Living LLC with images from both the 26th and 28th of work that they did up there, and then later this morning as well, we also received a memo from the Department of Public Services outlining an amount that they are seeking to retain, or asking the board to retain as part of the surety bond. And then after that, we received a letter in response to the DPS memo from Peabody Living LLC. And then just most recently, we received an email from Department of Public Services just answering one of the questions that was brought up as part of the response to DPS memo. So I think it's like 5 or 6 items. So the board, if they so choose, may wish to vote to accept these as late ads to discuss.
Mr. Chairman, in the matter of Stonegate subdivision, I have a series of late ads. First one being from James Nicholas, city engineer, dated May 1st, 2025. The memo is addressing some items that need to be addressed, plus 4 pages of black and white photographs. Secondly, I'm going to receive as a late ad a communication from Paul DiBiase, which I believe is a response to Mr. Nicholas's points he lays out in his memo dated May 1st. This is also dated May 1st. Thirdly, I have a correspondence from James Nicholas, city engineer, to Mr. Drew Levin, and this references photographs. The date on this is May 1st, 2025. And lastly, I have 2 packets of photographs. I'm sure one is provided by DPS, and the second is provided by the developer. So I will
Both are provided by the developer.
All right, all these photographs are provided by the developer, and there are 2 packages with several color photographs. Move to receive these for the record.
You have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
Yeah, we have hard copies of the most recent letter submitted by Peabody Living LLC, which
You got it, this is the one I received. He's gonna hand it out. Oh. I got one.
Oh, this is the one you just received.
I have one.
Does, you give one to Michelle?
we have one too, but let me just.
I have more. I printed out 10, just in case.
No, we got them, and then for the members that are joining via Zoom in the online packet, in a section labeled late ads, there is all the items that we are discussing this evening if you wish to follow along. I also have the images on here if we need to show them in color as well that I can present on the screen.
All set? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, my name is Hugo DiBiase. I am one of the owners of Peabody Living LLC, the development entity behind the Stonegate subdivision. We were before you, if you recall, at the last planning board meeting where we discussed the 2 surety bond / tri-party agreements for this subdivision. The first one was the $50,000 offsite bond, which your board last meeting voted to release that one. Thank you. At that last meeting, we were also requesting a partial release of the larger tri-party agreement surety bond for the completion of the future public infrastructure within this subdivision. And at that meeting, we discussed it at length, and we decided that we would move to pencil that or hold that until this meeting, pending some more information from the Department of Public Services. As Drew has mentioned, and sorry for the flurry of paperwork, as he put it, we received that memo from the Department of Public Service this morning around 9 a.m. and subsequently submitted our response to said memo along with various photographs of the work. The request from Peabody Living LLC, as it stands right now, is to request a partial release of the bond while we are okay with if the board would vote to release as the Department of Public Service recommended. We are okay with that while also reserving some of our rights regarding this bond. And throughout our memo to the board here, we issue several items that we would like some consideration for a further reduction for this partial release request. For the record, we're not asking for the full release. There's several line items that are still being held until the subdivision is complete and City Council and the powers to be accept the street. I'm happy to walk through any of our items or any of our comments, as well as any of the photographs. I would like to mention that the photographs that we received from DPS today, along with another email, thank you, Drew, later on this evening with the timestamps. The first several, I want to say there's maybe 5 or 6 total photos. The first 4 or 5 were photos taken on this past Monday. And there's photos of the detention basins with some, for lack of a better term, dirty water in them. And actually, on that day, on Monday, our team hired a crew to come out and clean all the drainage structures upstream using a high-pressure wet vac system. And so those photos that were taken was actually at the time that we were cleaning all of the structures to make sure that everything was fully cleaned out. And actually, one of those photos shows the truck in the background. We have, since our last meeting, which was on the 17th here, the following day, on Friday the 18th, our team is on site continuing erosion control measures on the property lines abutting the future public way and the private lots. We installed erosion control measure socks along that area. We cleaned up all the sidewalks. We dressed up the grass plots with loom, raked it, and then we actually hydroseeded on that 18th, as well as hydroseeding other areas within the basins themselves. And then we gave that about 10 days or so, and that's why on Monday we decided to clean out the structures to make sure that we fully captured anything that might have previously run off from not having all that erosion control measure in place, that we had the ability to try to protect and stop. That's kind of where we're at today now. So I would respectfully like the board to consider our request to not only get a partial release as the DPS has recommended, but also further review our comments in the spirit of the covenant, the tri-party agreement, and all the work that we've done and continue to do, and our commitment to finishing the subdivision. Happy to answer any questions, comments.
Just from the board?
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I have absolutely no problem voting in favor of granting this evening. A certain line item on this last page from Jim Nicholas's little list caught my eye. And I think that $66,000 original 30% contingency is excessive, in my opinion. But I know I'm not going to change anything. You agree to it, but I will even be more in favor next time. Because that's the original contingency for the whole amount. And it is excessive, in my opinion. So that's all I have to say.
Through the chair, sorry. I guess along the lines of what Roy was saying, it seems a bit of a redundancy or a duplication of a withholding, because the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 previous items of the withholding are also part of the original contingency. So we're going to hold 30% of the original contingency plus these 5 line items, where maybe 30% of the total contingency minus, like, whatever, 30% minus these equals how much on top of, I don't know, it seems like a duplication of these items. The 11.3 is getting, we're holding 11.3, but 30% of the original 11.3 as well, right? So for me, it seems like a little excessive as well. I don't remember from the last time you had your spreadsheet what it was that you were seeking, Hugo, from when you came here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, sure. So part of the package, actually, I did provide a comparison of what I'm calling the city DPW amount on 5.1 versus our request today on 5.1. And those line items you can kind of see next to each other. The 30% contingency at the inception of the bond was 30% of all of the line items above. So in standard tri-party releases in the city or elsewhere, typically that 30% is applied to the amount that is still remaining in the bond, not a blanket line item to be held for general purposes.
Even with that, I feel like we're duplicating these 5 line items. We're holding 30% of the outstanding balance plus them.
And recognizing that what I actually showed was, we are requesting the roadway as-built plan that was submitted, that was reviewed, that was then remodified, and then resubmitted way back when, several months ago. And then in an effort of good faith, we said, you know what, if they're looking at the full entire contingency as just a bucket that they get to keep, we're saying we'll leave half of it in and request the other half. So our total number is 45,000 and change.
Mr. Chairman, so these color pictures came after the black and white pictures, right? These are the improvements?
The hydro seeding happened on the 18th. Color pictures, yes.
Yeah.
On the 18th. Then there's another set of color pictures, which was on the 19th, which was a Saturday, that it actually rained out. And my team was on site taking pictures of, did we see any erosion happening onto the future public way? And then the photos that came out today were from the city of Peabody,
Right.
DPS. And those photos were from Monday. And on Monday is when we had a wet vac there, high pressuring to make sure that because about a month ago, we did have runoff. And we wanted to make sure that all the drainage structures were properly cleaned. And so because of that, we created muck and we created dirty water. So the images shown on Monday, blue skies, and there's a lot of water in the basins, that's because we put the water there.
And one photo is from 320, the last photo.
And then there's one last photo from 320, which I
Okay.
think we've definitely
Yeah, I'm
addressed
also
that.
in favor of this. I think it's excessive too as well. I mean, I agree with Mr. Simos.
To the
I
board,
didn't,
just
I didn't make a motion to change this. I just made a statement. And the proponent agrees, DPS agrees, everybody agrees. Let's vote on what's in front of us. Let's authorize this release as written, and we'll deal with it, say, in a month.
Just to clarify, there's two separate numbers, though. There is a $89,000 number that the DPS is looking to retain, and then there is a revised $45,000 number that Peabody Living has proposed. Okay, but that's not on the memo. We received the DPS memo at 9 a.m. this morning regarding outlining that $89,000 to retain and releasing $192,000. And then we received a response to that from Peabody Living LLC. DPS is requesting that the planning board retain $89,621.50.
Got it. Where's the 45?
That number was the Peabody Living LLC response that came after, in response to that letter today.
Do we have affirmation from DPS that that's okay, or we don't need it?
I mean, they haven't reviewed it and been able to get back to me on that yet, but they're requesting that 89,000, and that number is, to the point about the contingency, is that, you know, if DPS has to go out and do a lot of this work that's being mentioned up there, DPS is paying prevailing wages on this, and it's a lot more expensive than if a private contractor was to come and do this, and that's where a lot of these numbers are coming from.
I understand, but so can I ask Mr. DiBiase a question?
Sure.
Are you okay leaving here today with the release of the lion's share of the bond, except 89,000?
As our letter said, we're okay with that.
Okay.
Without waiving any of our
Right.
rights within
Right.
the agreements that the parties
Right,
have all
because-
agreed to.
Right.
The one ask, the one request is that Peabody Living LLC needs to understand the basis for withholding the $89,000. Because as we talked about, the lion's share of that is a general contingency amount. And so without having directive of, you know, we all agreed to these line items going into it in late 2022 maybe, This was reviewed and approved by DPS.
Right.
They took our numbers, made them what they thought was accurate, and we all accepted that.
Understood. But, and I actually, I very much understand that some of the items on this list of 5 things that are not contingencies, you've already done. With your vac truck and your high-pressure wash. But we have to deal with the DPS every single, twice a month. We deal with them all the time. And if you're okay leaving here with this as 89 withholding, and then in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, we address the rest of it, then I think that's the vote we should take tonight.
If I may, I think the contingency on the whole bond is for what's left, it is kind of high. So I just did some quick math and I reduced that by 50%. And I don't know how the board feels about this or the proponent, but would you be happy leaving here with $56,621.50 on our table?
The as-built plan is back into it, okay, and then you took half of the bond of
I
it.
took half the
Yes.
contingency off
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the recommended.
So you're splitting 66, 121 into 33, 60,
Something.
Yes.
50?
Yes, so.
I would go along with our recommendation that we reduce it to the 89,000 and take it up again in the next meeting.
Want to make that?
Mr. Chairman, you know what, I'm very good at numbers, and I have to tell you, I am very confused.
I don't have a problem seconding the motion. If you put what you just said, Mr. Ford, in a motion, I do not have a problem seconding that.
Just, as the voice of the city of Peabody and, community development, I will say that we are not the Department of Engineering. So in that case, our DPW department, our DPS is providing us with a number here that they feel is the reasonable amount to retain due to erosion issues up there as laid out in their memo, including the stabilization of that stormwater basin and the work that would need to be completed up there to stabilize that basin. So I would recommend that the board vote to retain the $89,000 as outlined in the Department of Public Services memo.
Mr. Chair, if I may? And we respect that, and we said yes to that in this memo. We did ask for something more. More so on the fact that the language within the DPS memo is really telling us to pick it up next year. Is really telling us to pick this back up in 1 year once vegetation has established and once everything is all set. So my big concern here is that we don't have erosion. We have done everything per the plans, per the specifications. There is no runoff happening within the future public way. And we want some consideration, whether that's now, next month, or in 6 months, or at some time. Like we just, we're going in a circle trying to solve for this issue, and we're doing everything that we can, and we've done, and we just would like it to be on record that this whole process truly isn't how this process is supposed to play out. Very, very frustrating to receive a memo the day of the hearing.
Dr. Otto, you had a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the better part of valor here is to accept the recommendation from Public Services and indicate to Mr. DiBiase that it might take some further communication between this board through Drew with DPS to kind of resolve some of these issues of are we duplicating numbers here? Because we could always revisit this as early as 2 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. I will also say that I totally agree with Mr. DiBiase. This trying to resolve things the day of the meeting is extremely troublesome to me. The volume of late ads in that folder is troubling to me. I think we have to find a way to manage the paperwork flow better here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Otto.
I think I agree with, I think what Dr. Otto was saying. I think that, Drew, you should talk to DPS there and figure this out in the next 2 weeks and come back with a more defined request. I mean, you know, that's my opinion. I think you need to pursue this and bring before the next board meeting something that I'm repeating myself, that is specific and easy to understand. I mean, we're all over the place here a little bit, and you know, no one's really on the same page here. I don't think we're all thinking differently.
And to further that, I would like to request that whatever is developed by Peabody be put in our next packet in the mail before we have the meeting, and not accept another late ad from Public Services.
Thank you.
So just in response to both of those, I have been working with DPS on this. Unfortunately, DPS is not their only project that they're working on. They're extremely busy, and you know, they are trying to meet this, and unfortunately that came up to this deadline today. I will ask that DPW or DPS try to provide any sort of memos as soon as possible, but unfortunately, just how I mentioned it, they're a very busy department, and they're dealing with many different things happening in this city, and so to get them to write this memo beforehand could be difficult. But I also just want to put out there too that, you know, in the sake of us trying to move this forward, we are meeting on this, and we are trying to meet, and that if we stopped meetings last Thursday, then we would not have new information this week. And so that is one of the reasons why we are trying to, and again, there's a late ad process that if the board does not wish to discuss these items, then they, you know, you have the full ability not to accept these as late ads and to ask the applicant to continue an item. But, you know, in the spirit of trying to move things forwards, that's why things were submitted when they were.
Well, now that you mentioned it, Drew, so DPS may be inundated with work, but they're also woefully understaffed, and somebody needs to do something about that understaffing that they have there. And because what you suggest hurts the people that are coming before us. So it's a city delaying issue that then hurts the people who are trying to do the right thing. If they can't find an engineer to hire, then they're not paying enough money. It's very clear. If a job stays vacant for months and months and months, then the wage isn't enough. Or maybe we just overrule and do what we think is right.
Not to go down this because it's not part of this conversation, but they are trying to hire a city engineer right now as we speak to help with this work.
Through the chair, can I just ask a
Yes.
question? Sorry. I know years past we've heard about, I didn't realize we were in a drought situation coming out of winter like this with ponds overflowing, best I can tell in my driving around the city. But if we indeed are, don't we have a situation where we've got a water tower that dumps 10,000 gallons of water a day that is unused by this development that could be used for watering and stabilizing this vegetation?
That's not this development.
Thought that was,
It's
should we not be calling this Stonegate then any longer?
No, that was Boulderwood.
Oh, Boulder, oh, I'm sorry. Didn't come down the hill, I got it, yep.
At this time, I'll accept a motion on this.
It seems that all parties are in agreement with the DPS figure, so that's what we're going to go with. Mr. Chairman, on the matter of Stonegate subdivision, I would move to reduce the bond by $196,905, leaving $89,621.50 with the city as a bond.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so that's all that.
Other matters properly before the board? Lou, do you have anything?
I do not have anything, sorry. This was about other items before the board? We do not. But in the sense of the public hearing, I would say that the board might wish to vote to unrecess the public hearing, and I would ask that the board, on behalf of the Forestry Department and the City of Peabody, continue this until our board's next meeting.
Move to reopen the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Now, I would like to extend the public hearing until the next meeting of the planning board. I believe that is the 15th of May, 2025.
Have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Other matters properly before the board?
Mr. Chairman, just getting back to the late ads, I mean, I'm sympathetic to the developers that come before this board, and I would like to continue to accept those late ads, only because it's just going to delay, another delay for these developers. I understand that it's not the way it should be, but given the fact that we're short-staffed in some departments here in the city of Peabody, that I think it would help expedite development, future development.
And in the matter of late ads, I do agree they are a pain, they're burdensome, but these that we got today, if we didn't have these, if we didn't receive them, there would be no discussion on this matter at all tonight. So this was a necessity.
Second.
To adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous, thank you.